What is going on, guys? This is Miasin, and today I'm extremely excited and happy to show you guys my Dogmatika Mitsurugi deck. I think this is a super interesting build and very just fun strategy overall that a lot of people are not really on the lookout for. Nobody's really gonna think of Dogmatika cards when they enter like an event or something, and you can really take advantage of that because these cards are still very good. Nadir Servant is absolutely cracked, and you can take advantage of Herald of the Arclight incredibly well in this deck. You can just demolish people when you go first. There are some combos that are just completely unfair, and I will be showcasing all of that in this video right here, as well as the deck list. But before we go any further, you already know the drill. Smash the like and subscribe button. Really motivates me a lot to keep existing on this planet. And with that being said, let's get right into it. Okay, so for the starters, I'm playing a decent amount of them. So 3 Habakiri, 3 Prayers, 3 Pre-Prep, which can also, by the way, search a White Knight of Dogmatika as well as the Dogmatic Cabre. So it has like dual utility, and then obviously 3 Nadir Servant. This is one of the best cards in this deck by far. It's completely cracked. It's ridiculous because it does everything you can ask for. It can send Herald of Arclight to search Habakiri because White Knight has 500 attack, and the Herald also has 500 attack. 600, sorry. How convenient. And also you're searching Ecclesia. You're doing like everything. Like it's too good. Or like you're searching Maximus. You can also send like Al Capone, and then, you know, have access to Shuttle Schism. Yeah, this card is cracked. Anyways, 1 Aramasa, so that's the 13th 1-card starter. And then everything else, like you do have like some 2-card combos that work really well. So for example, Saji with a Ritual Monster, or Saji with Ritual, or like Ecclesia or Maximus with a Fua, for example. That's kind of ridiculous, but it does work. And yeah, I mean, we're playing also a bunch of, we're playing a decent-sized Mitsurugi package. So obviously one of each of the level 4s, 1 Ame no Murakumo with 1 Futsu, 1 Ritual. And then for the Dogmatika cards, actually also 1 Mitsurugi Mirror. Obviously no shit for pre-preparation of rights, otherwise the combo doesn't work. But yeah, 1 White Knight of Dogmatika as well as 1 Dogmatika Albazoa. Both of these cards are really good. White Knight is obviously way worse than Dogmatika Albazoa, but if you have to summon White Knight on the opponent's turn, which is possible with using Dogmatika Turgi, and you can even Ritual Summon on turn 0. But yeah, if you have to summon this on the opponent's turn, it actually does something, whereas Albazoa only does something on your own turn. Even though it is cool that, you know, your Dogmatika monsters become unaffected by activated effects of your opponent's Fusion, Synchro, Xyz, and Link monsters. So yeah, this is also an out to Liger Dancer for every reason imaginable. I think you can even use its on-field effect to make your opponent bounce back Liger Dancer to the extra deck, because it makes the player bounce back like all the Fusion, Synchro, Xyz, and Link monster they control back to the hand. It's really unfair. And yeah, for White Knight of Dogmatika, this card, whenever your opponent activates a card or effect on the resolution of that, you can send a monster from your extra deck to the grave, and then look at your opponent's extra deck, and then send a monster from it to the grave. So it's kind of like a Kashtira Unicorn, kind of, but a little better because you're also triggering, you know, stuff like Elder Entity Entis, or Garura, or, you know, Enigmaster Pagbit, or, you know, Herald of the Arclight, or whatever, like the Tri-Brigade Arms Mauser, Mirror Logic Aggregator. There's so many cards that you can send from the extra deck to the graveyard, and then get a little bit of, you know, card advantage off. So yeah, it's kind of like the same concept as Dogmatika Punishment, but for a Ritual Monster. And again, it's a card that is very easy to summon. You can literally make it with one single card on the opponent's turn, using Dogmatika Fleur de Lys, the Thunderbolt. And this card here, it is a relatively new hand trap, so that's the reason why this deck is not like something that is super old, because before Dogmatika Fleur de Lys, it kind of made a little less sense, but this card really changed a lot. So it reads, during the main phase, if a monster special summon from the extra deck is on the field, quick effect, you can special summon this card from your hand, and then if this card is special summoned from the hand, you can set a Dogmatika trap from your deck, and it can be activated this turn while your opponent controls a Fusion, Synchro, Xyz, or Link monster with 2500 or more attack, and then you can only use each effect once per turn. So yeah, your opponent summons one of those extra deck monsters with 2500 attack or more, you summon this, you set your Turgi or your punishment. You already know what punishment does, so I'm not going to read it out for you. But Dogmatika Turgi is a really interesting card that allows you to Ritual Summon a Dogmatika Ritual Monster from your hand or deck by tributing Dogmatika monsters and or Ritual Fusion, Synchro, or Xyz monsters from your field whose total level equal exactly the level of the Ritual Monster you Ritual Summon. You can also tribute away your Murakumo, your Futsus, your Habakiri from your field, and then you summon your White Knight from the deck, which is insane. Or you can technically also summon Albazoa, but good luck getting there. It's really hard. You have to get rid of like a level 8 and basically Dogmatika Ecclesia. But yeah, then you can trigger your, you know, Mitsurugi monsters. And also it has a graveyard effect that I think is really neat. So if it's in your grave, you can banish it and then target 2 Dogmatika monsters with different levels in your grave. You add one to your hand and then you place the other on your bottom of the deck, which allows you to basically reuse Maximus multiple times. And you have a lot of like fuel in your extra deck. There's so many cards that have good graveyard effects. And I can go on the, there's Abkalone, there's Entis, there's Garura, there's Lulu Walilith, there's a Pagbit, Herald, Aggregator, Mauser. There's way too many cards. So yeah, all those cards, you get like a +1 every single time you send them to the grave, and Maximus sends 2 of them from the extra deck to the grave. So honestly, unless you play a deck, you play against a deck that also plays Herald of the Arclight, you basically have nothing to lose when you use this card. I mean, yeah, it could backfire with other cards. I mean, if your opponent plays Super Poly and also has Garura, then, your opponent searches Habakiri and draws a card. That's not the best feeling, but apart from that, trust me, bro, you're fine. So yeah, this is a hand shop, and then obviously there's Fua, there's Super Poly, and there's technically Fleur de Lis, that is another quote-unquote hand shop. If you have, like, both Fleur de Lises on turn 0, you can set, like, Punishment or Liturgy, and then also negate an opponent's monster effect with Fleur de Lis, the Knighted. So yeah, you can double hand shop your opponent in a deck that barely plays any hand shop, which is really cute. It's like in-engine hand shops. Adorable. And yeah, Prosperity Called by the Grave. And then the 2 final cards I wanted to keep the best for last, so Dogmatika Matrix, as well as Calamity. Calamity is kind of like a Necros Kaleidoscope. It's a very, very, very good card. You can send, like, the whole monster from your extra deck to the graveyard instead of having to, like, send anything from the hand or field. And it only summons, like, the ritual monster from your hand, which is not, like, the same as Dogmatika Cabaret, which is more of, like, a combination of Necros Cycle and Necros Mirror at the same time. It's a fusion of both, because you can ritual summon from the grave by also banishing the materials from the grave. So you can be on top deck mode, 0 cards in the hand, 0 cards on your field, top deck Dogmatika Cabaret, activate, and then you're back into the game, which is really nice. But yeah, Dogmatika Calamity, it's the better one to go for when you want to trigger, the graveyard effect of Lulu Walilith, when you want to summon Albazoa, or when you want to trigger Pagbit when you're summoning White Knight of Dogmatika. So like I said, you do have a lot of cool options. And Dogmatika Matrix, this card is not the best going first. It doesn't do too much, even though it does have some cool things. But going second, it is unfair. And you can also combo it off with, like, Ibli and do some really unfair things. And I'm looking very forward to explaining this. Anyways, for the extra deck, I do want to add the fact that you can easily play Titanic Lad in the extra deck as a level 8 monster to send off of your Dogmatika Calamity. That is a great option for sure. Anyways, 1 Abkalone, 1 Winda, and then 1 Wendigo. I play Wendigo because Fua is wind, so I guess if you want to make it, you can, but it's also because, like, you do need to play a 3rd channel monster that you can send so that you can trigger its effect to recycle back to recycle your Schism that you discarded off of Abkalone. And then when you summon your Winda, you're going to be banishing the Wendigo as well as something else, and preferably not a light or dark, otherwise it might it might get hit by a Bestial. So it's really just to play around Bestials. But yeah, as long as it's not like a light or dark monster, you're fine. Anyways, 1 Elder Entity Entis, 1 Garura, obviously, and also Madragon of the Swamp. So these 2 are super poly targets, but Garura also overlaps as a card that you can send from the extra deck to the graveyard. So you're going to be going into it very often, either to summon it again or send it to the grave. Anyways, the 1 Lulu Walilith, you cannot synchro summon it because you don't have any tuner monsters. Same thing with Enigmaster Pagbid, you play no tuners. It's really just a card that you're sending from extra deck to grave. 1 Herald of Arclight, obviously I think you can understand why this is here, right? It's a MVP of the deck. And then 1 Aggregator, 1 Mauser, 1 Danamundo, which you're going to be summoning a fair bit. Actually, it's a really good card. And then 1 Lingerable for Ibli, as well as Secure Gardna and Salamangreed Elmirage. If you want to play more hand shops like Ash or Valor that you can normal summon, it combos off very well with Maximus. So you just make Elmirage and then you link off into Secure Gardna, and then you banish the Elmirage from the grave, summon the Maximus, which you can also search with Ecclesia or Nadir Servant, and then you can send Herald of Arclight, search Habakiri, and you're also sending Garura to draw a card. You're doing crazy things. But yeah, for the side deck, we are playing the Wusu, which is searchable by Habakiri. I mean, it's searchable by anything, so it's a searchable Kaiju. And then 3 Ultimate Slayer. Bro, you have all the options in the world, and all of them have graveyard effects. For Fusion, we've got these 2. For Synchros, we've got these 3. For Xyz, we've got the Aggregator. And for Link, we've got Mauser. So literally, regardless of what your opponent has on the field, Ultimate Slayer is always going to be a 1-for-2 package deal. It's broken. And then Ritangsi for Dragon Tail and Loonlight. Drool for Loonlight, Yummy Mitsurugi, whatever. Pretty much a lot of things. And then for going first, we have Great Purification, Schism, as well as 3 Ibli. And with that out of the way, let's get into the combos. Okay, so combo number 1, all I have is Nadir Servant. Look at what you can do. So I'm going to be sending the Garura to draw a card and search the Maximus and then banish it. Like, disregard what I'm drawing off of the Garura. It really doesn't matter. It's really just because I need to play against myself and just demonstrate like a line. But yeah, I'm going to be sending Herald of the Arclight as well as Lulu Walilith from your my extra deck to the graveyard. So obviously search the Habakiri there, and then Habakiri summon the Saji, and then, effects, search my Mitsurugi Ritual, and then activate that. I'm going to be summoning the Habakiri from hand, and then trigger Kusanagi as well as Aramasa, search the Futsu, and then search my ritual, and then ritual summon for the Murakumo by tributing the Futsu. Search for the mirror, and then activate the mirror, tribute away the Habakiri to revive back the Futsu, search Great Purification. And interestingly enough, I'm not going to be summoning back the Habakiri, even though usually you would kind of want to go a +1 for free. But I actually want to have like 2 free zones in the monster zone, because on the end phase, Lulu Walilith is going to be summoning the Fleur de Lis, the Ecclesia, and that is going to be searching the Fleur de Lis, the Thunderbolt. And like I said, I didn't want to summon back the Habakiri, otherwise I wouldn't be able to summon the Fleur de Lis, the Thunderbolt. And I can't summon from the extra deck anyways because of Nadir Servant, so that's the reason why I couldn't like bring it back and then make a rank 8. Otherwise, it would have been completely unfair. But yeah, on the opponent's turn, I have a lot of interactions here. So obviously the Murakumo to discard a card, and then the Murakumo to wipe everything when it is revived back off of Great Purification or Futsu. We also have the Fleur de Lis that can summon itself and then either set the Dogmatika Punishment or set the Dogmatika Turgy, which allows me to ritual summon for the White Knight of Dogmatika. And then when my opponent activates a card or effect, like I said, I can send like something from my extra deck to the graveyard, so again, trigger its effect, and then look at my opponent's extra deck and then rip a card from it and send it to the graveyard. So yeah, a lot of interactions off of one single Nadir Servant. I'm also drawing a card in the process. This is very impressive. So combo number 2, I have Dogmatika Ecclesia as well as Futsu or like Murakumo or whatever, and then Dogmatika Albazoa. So look at this, normal summon. I'm going to be searching my deck for the for the Matrix, and then search for the Cabaret. And then ritual summon the Albazoa by pitching the Ecclesia as well as the Futsu. And of course, this is going to be searching the Habakiri. So Futsu, like even though it doesn't have like an in-hand effect, it doesn't matter. Like we're still able to like tribute it so that we can summon Albazoa and then search the Habakiri anyways. And then yeah, from here on out, we get the Mitsurugi combo. We have Albazoa on the field. We can do some crazy things, and I'm just going to be getting some more, you know, advantage in rotation, like a second Habakiri, so it can be my discard fodder for the Abkalone searching the Schism, because we are going to be searching that right now, and obviously, like I said, discard the useless Habakiri. And then we're going to be going for the Murakumo summon from deck, tribute the Habakiri, recycle back the, revive itself back, search the mirror, and then tribute away the Murakumo, revive back the Futsu, search the Great Purification. And then Albazoa is like one of the most unfair cards in the game. So during your main phase, you can make your opponent choose and apply one of these effects. So either for every 2 cards in your extra deck, send 1 card from your hand or extra deck to the graveyard, or you make your opponent like return all Fusion, Synchro, Xyz, and Link monsters, they control to the extra deck. So either way, like this card is unfair, but you choose obviously the effect. So yeah, no, I mean, it's completely unfair. Like obviously going first, like it's gonna be the first effect. So yeah, you just rip your like 7 cards out of your opponent's extra deck, or if your opponent wants to like discard cards from the hand, that's fine. It's not like I really care. I mean, it sends, like, it doesn't discard. So if you're playing against Dark World, you're not going to make your opponent go like +7. But yeah, you have Winda access because of Schism. You have a Omni Negate in the form of Great Purification. We've got Murakumo wipe. We have like everything. This is absolutely disgusting. Last but definitely not least, this is my favorite combo in the entire deck. And you can do this post game 1 when you side in the Iblis. But yeah, normal summon Iblis, make the Lingerable, give the Iblis to the opponent. Activate Dogmatika Matrix, which would search 2 cards from deck to hand since the opponent controls a monster. And our opponent tries to use Dominus Purge, but we can negate it using the Lingerable. So this combo is like inherently resilient through hand traps. And also the opponent cannot nib us, he cannot like bestial us anymore, he cannot do anything really, because now our opponent is locked under Iblis. So there's just no way we lose. And we're going to be searching Dogmatic Calamity as well as Albazoa. Activate the Calamity, send the Lulu Walilith to summon the Albazoa. And then trigger the Matrix so that we can search, send a Herald of the Arclight, and then search for the Habakiri. And then go, this is nasty. Activate Albazoa. This is, again, unaffected by Fusion, Synchro, Xyz, and Link monsters. So even if my opponent sends, like, whatever, like Trabrigade Mauser to try to Book of Moonit, or Aggregator, or Elder Entity Entis to try to negate or destroy it, it's not going to do anything. It is just unaffected. But yeah, now we can go Habakiri effect, summon the Saji, and then effect to search for the Mitsurugi ritual, activate that, summon the Habakiri from hand, etc, blah blah blah. It's always going to be the exact same process every single time. But yeah, we're also going to be getting a little bonus end phase special summon off of the Despian Lulu Walilith that we sent with the Dogmatic Calamity. But yeah, we're also searching Great Purification, and then end phase, like I said, summon, and then search for the Fleur de Lis, and there's just no way you lose. Like, the opponent is under Iblis, right? We got to negate like the Dogmatica Purge or Impulse or whatever, literally anything off of Lingerable. It's unfair. And then, Albazoa made the opponent rip like 7 cards, like half the extra deck is gone. And then there's also, like 3 more cards in your hand, and there is the, you know, Fleur de Lis, Thunderbolt, Hand Trap in your hand. How can you lose? Like, you're gonna have to put in a lot of effort. But yeah, that's it for this video right here. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and let me know how you feel about this awesome deck in the comment section below. Have you ever thought of it? I want to hear your thoughts, and I'll see you guys very soon. Peace.